For decades, the simmering animosity between Iran and Israel played out in shadows, through proxy conflicts, covert operations, and geopolitical maneuvering, a silent, deadly war, always threatening to erupt into the open. But now, that red line has been crossed. Today, the unthinkable is happening. Iran and Israel are engaged in direct, reciprocal military strikes, and in a monumental coup, the United States, for the first time in this escalating conflict, has joined the fray, directly targeting Iranian nuclear sites. The Middle East, and indeed the world, is holding its breath. How did we get here? What does direct conflict between these bitter rivals mean for global stability? And what is the true, evolving role of the world's superpower, the United States? In this escalating crisis, the answers are more complex and more terrifying than you might imagine. Welcome to Worldview Report, your source for unfiltered geopolitical insights. In this video deep dive, we will unravel the immediate origins and terrifying implications of the direct war between Iran and Israel, with a critical focus on the unprecedented intervention of the United States. We'll cover the historical roots of this modern animosity, the proxy war that defined their rivalry for decades, the recent direct strikes and their immediate fallout, the precise nature and implications of America's military role, and what the future holds for this volatile region. If understanding global conflicts is crucial to you, hit that like button and subscribe to Worldview Report to stay informed on the world's most critical events. The foundations of animosity. From ally to enemy, to grasp the current crisis, we must briefly rewind. Before 1979, Iran, under the Shah, was a tacit ally of Israel, both aligned with the West in the Cold War. But the Islamic Revolution fundamentally transformed Iran's foreign policy. The new Islamic Republic adopted a staunchly anti-Zionist stance, viewing Israel as an illegitimate occupier of Muslim lands and a Western outpost in the heart of the Middle East. This ideological shift laid the groundwork for decades of deep-seated animosity. For Israel, the rise of a revolutionary, religiously motivated Iran, with ambitions of regional hegemony and a declared aim to destroy the Jewish faith, became an existential threat. But for years, this rivalry remained largely indirect, a shadow war fought through proxies. Till now the proxy war era, Iran's axis of resistance. For decades, Iran developed what it called the axis of resistance, a network of armed non-state actors and allied governments across the Middle East. Groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas and Islamic Jihad in Gaza, and various Shia militias in Iraq and Syria, along with the Houthi rebels in Yemen, became Tehran's strategic depth and primary means to project power and counter Israel without direct confrontation. These proxies engaged in various conflicts with Israel, launching rockets, conducting attacks, and draining Israeli resources. Israel, in turn, conducted countless covert operations and airstrikes against Iranian assets and proxies in Syria, Lebanon, and beyond, aiming to degrade their capabilities and disrupt weapon transfers. It was a constant, low-intensity conflict, a complex chess game where direct hits were carefully avoided by the main players. Underlying this proxy struggle was another critical tension: Iran's nuclear program. While Tehran maintained its program was for peaceful energy purposes, Israel and the West feared it was a cover for developing nuclear weapons, which Israel views as an unacceptable threat to its very existence. The fragile rules of this shadow war began to crack, particularly after a series of events in late 2023 and early 2024 that dramatically changed the regional calculus. The escalation to direct conflict, Operation Rising Lion and Iranian retaliation. The catalyst for the current direct escalation can be traced back to the October 7, 2023, Hamas attack on Israel, which initiated the most intense Gaza war in history. While Iran denied direct involvement in planning, it openly supported Hamas, leading to increased regional tensions. The first major direct escalation occurred in April 2024, when Israel launched an airstrike on the Iranian consulate in Damascus, Syria, killing several senior Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps (IRGC) commanders. This was a significant breach of unwritten rules of engagement. Iran responded with an unprecedented direct missile and drone attack on Israeli territory, firing hundreds of projectiles. While most were intercepted by Israel and its allies, including the U.S., it marked the first time Iran had directly attacked Israel from its own soil. This direct exchange set a dangerous precedent. The current phase, starting in June 2025, represents a terrifying new chapter. Israel launched Operation Rising Lion, a blistering campaign targeting the heart of Iran's nuclear and military infrastructure. Reports confirmed strikes on nuclear sites in Isfahan, Natanz, and Fordo, as well as military installations and key figures within Iran. Iran retaliated swiftly, launching further waves of drones and missiles towards Israel, causing casualties and damage in Tel Aviv and central Israel. The conflict, once a shadow, had now fully emerged into the light. But the most significant development, the one that truly altered the geopolitical landscape, came next. The direct military intervention of the United States. America's deepening role. From support to direct strikes, the United States has long been Israel's staunchest ally, providing billions in military aid and diplomatic support. Its policy towards Iran, particularly after the 1979 resolution, has been one of containment and sanctions, aiming to curb Iran's nuclear ambitions and support for proxies. U.S. sanctions have severely crippled Iran's economy, but they haven't halted its nuclear progress or its regional influence. President Trump, after withdrawing from the JCPOA nuclear deal, intensified a maximum pressure campaign, which some analysts argue, ironically, pushed Iran closer to direct confrontation. However, the recent development marks an unprecedented escalation. For the first time, the U.S. directly joined Israel's offensive, launching its own strikes on key Iranian nuclear facilities, including the deeply fortified Fordo site. President Trump confirmed these strikes, stating they obliterated the facilities and warned Iran to make peace or face tragedy. This direct intervention signifies a major shift. The U.S. had previously focused on defending against Iranian proxy attacks on its own forces in the region, but now it's actively participating in offensive strikes against Iran's homeland. This raises critical questions about the U.S.'s long-term strategy, its commitment to de-escalation, and the potential for a wider, regional, or even global conflict. The implications of this direct engagement are immense, creating a volatile and unpredictable future for the Middle East and beyond. The fallout in the future. A region on the brink. The immediate fallout from these direct strikes is severe. Casualties are mounting on both sides. Iran vows everlasting consequences for the U.S. intervention, while Israeli officials state they are prepared for a prolonged campaign. Regional stability is shattered, and global oil markets are in turmoil. The path forward is fraught with peril. Will this escalation lead to a full-scale regional war, drawing in more actors? Can diplomatic efforts, now more urgent than ever, find an off-ramp? Or will this become a prolonged, grinding conflict with devastating consequences for millions? The role of the United States remains pivotal. Its actions will determine not just the immediate future of this conflict, but potentially the geopolitical balance of power for decades to come. The world watches, hoping that restraint, not retaliation, ultimately prevails. Conclusion. The updated story of Iran versus Israel is no longer a distant proxy war. It is a direct confrontation with the world's superpower now actively involved. The stakes couldn't be higher. Understanding this evolving conflict is essential for every global citizen.